So still on parenting teenagers, and today we want to look at some of the reasons why your teenager may be insisting that you switch them schools. This can be happening in Form 2, Form 3, and in very rare cases, even in Form 4, depending on how bad the situation is for your teenager or how they perceive the situation to be. Now remember, your teenager is well developed in the limbic system where emotions, feelings, reward is well developed, but they're very underdeveloped in reasoning capacity, in ability to make executive decisions. And so this is where you come in as a parent to help them understand and navigate their limbic system and how reasonable they are at any particular moment, or helping them see reason. So these are the reasons I wrote down after engaging with some of the teenagers of why they would want to be switched schools. They're in no way in order of priority. So number one is about friends. Your teenager may have formed a very significant alliance with another student, and the other student might be transferring to a different school. And that student leaving is going to leave your teenager with a big psychological gap or a big emotional gap that student was feeling. And that is very, very important for your teenager. And so that could be one of the reasons why your teenager might want to go to that school, to follow their friends. And it's very important to listen to them. Remember, their feelings are well developed. They understand frustration, they understand disappointment, they understand anger, they understand betrayal, they understand annoyance, denial, all those things, but they're not able to reason properly. And so you come in and you help them reason that the reason why you want to switch schools cannot be because you're following a friend, but in a stepwise manner that they're able to understand and come to terms with. The other thing would be the academic culture in that school. So some teenagers would say that their school is boring, the teachers are boring, the culture in which they use for learning, that is the prep time, everything in the school, they find it very not conducive for their academic performance. And so they might even blame it. But in the other school, the teachers are very engaging, they're interesting, it's exciting to do physics in that school. The laboratories are nice, the teacher is very exciting. And so they would compel you to switch them classes so that they can improve their academic performance. Again, you still have to come in as a parent, as an adult, to teach them, to educate them, to rationalize with them. The other thing would be the social culture. Again, the same. Some schools have these cliques of student groups where they behave a certain way. They go about having a certain lifestyle in the teenagehood. Sometimes they get together after school when schools are closed, that is, or after school if it's a day school. They visit each other, and so your teenager might want to go into that school because the social culture there is appealing to them. The other thing would be status. Schools have different status. It could be sports, it could be academic, it could be even looks. So some students, we've had this even for our own generation, where some schools are known to have beautiful girls or handsome boys. And so you want to be part of that school so that when you finish and you say you're from that school, there's an expectation that you're beautiful and you derive identity from that. And your teenager might find that in looking for identity, they might want to be associated with certain schools to be able to build identity. The other thing would be the infrastructure, that is the closeness of their dormitories. So if you've got, let's say, 15 beds in one dorm or 20, and your teenager finds it too crowded, and so they feel that every single day they have an invasion of privacy physically, and so it makes them really uncomfortable. Yes, everyone is doing it around them, but for them, they're struggling just to be in that space with other students. They feel suffocated, and so it's very important to listen to their concerns. And then again, rationalize and reason with them. The other thing is liberties. Now, liberties comes in two things. The innocuous one, where they order KFC, or they found a way around it without the administration knowing, so they order food, or they order other things that are not harmful to them to use. So it could be gadgets, it could be getting a movie or having a laptop over the weekend, things like that, without the administration knowing. Now, to the harmful things, they might have found a way to get drugs. And for such schools that are known to easily smuggle drugs without their teachers knowing, this would be alcohol mostly. Sometimes cannabis, sometimes miraa. So for schools that are known to have found a way around it, they become very popular to other students. And so your teenager might want to go to that school just to be able to try alcohol, just to be able to try weed for the first time. And there's a lot of pride in saying that I've tried weed among teenagers, yeah? And when you talk to your teenager, you'll realize that they don't want to try alcohol. Some of them really don't want to. But because of the peer pressure, because of that need to be part of something, to be part of a trend, then they go ahead and try it. And that's why, again, we come back to the parent as a role model. Their emotional capacity is well developed, but their ability to think, their ability to reason is still down here. And this is where you come in to feel that need, to teach them, to educate them, to guide them. The other reason that I got from one of the teenagers is that they have a love interest in that, because this is the time when they're beginning to identify their sexuality. And again, teenagers do talk to each other, and they're aware that in that school, this practice is accepted among the students. I don't know if the teachers are aware of it. So some schools have a way of allowing lesbianism to be normal, or allowing gayism to be normal in those schools. And your teenager might want to go there either out of curiosity or for other reasons, yeah. And so all these reasons, there are many more, I'm sure, out there. It's very important to sit down with your teenager and talk to them, listen to them. The only way you can help them is to understand where they're coming from, where all this is coming from, so that you can then guide them, you can then teach them, you can then advise them, you can then rationalize with them. And teenagers are at a phase in their life where they're teachable most of the time, or some of the time. They are teachable, but they become teachable when they feel that they're being understood, when they feel that their concerns are being validated, when they feel like their voice is being heard, when they feel like they're being seen. Then they become open and they're willing to hear you out if you're willing